The second segment of the show, where we are talking Today for Tomorrow, a non-profit organization set up by UWC students to help give back to high school learners in poorer communities. Joining us for this conversation is Lonwabo Tamane, founding chairperson. Good evening and welcome to metroFM Talk.
Good evening to you too, Cisco Baby, and thanks a lot for having us.
Thank you for your patience. You've been sitting here for a while, Engos. I note that. Joining him is also Inga Ndalase, fundraising director of Today for Tomorrow. Good evening and welcome to metroFM Talk, ma'am.
Hello, sis. Thank you for having us.
Today for Tomorrow. What necessitated the formation of this movement? What do you seek to do, Lona?
Perfect. Basically, what I had spotted was a gap between university students and high school learners. If you look at it as a university student, you are almost or just a role model to a high school student because you are closer to your dreams. You are studying towards perhaps what they might also want to study towards.
Right.
So you are a step ahead and you might just become a role model to them. So I thought of an initiative that can actually try and bridge the gap between the two, because as a product of a township school myself, I had actually struggled to get access to the right information and to the relevant information. Specifically, if you look at it, we focus specifically on grade 9. Reason being that at grade 9 level, you know absolutely nothing. You might think you want to be a doctor, but you actually don't want to be a doctor.
And that's when you should be making decisions.
That's when you should be making decisions. And hence, when we formed it, we said, okay, it's fine. We'll be doing tutoring, mentorship, as well as career guidance.
Okay.
Tutoring to say we're trying to get these learners to a certain academical point or level that by the end of the year, when they make that decision of whether or not do I go to science, accounting, or do I just go to history, they make a decision not because they are hindered by their marks to do so. So, and then the mentorship part to say, we understand that sometimes it's not just that the student doesn't understand the work, but sometimes it's socio-economic related issues as well. So we try to mentor them as much as possible, organizing events throughout the year, calling in people who've made it from tough situations. And then the third leg, which is career guidance, the most important one for a child who is in grade 9, because they have to make a decision that they are well informed of, that they understand that if I do mathematics, it will end me here. I make an example, I make reference to myself. I only took pure maths, which enabled me to do my dream course, only because I was eavesdropping when I was passing by. I had 2 people saying that.
Are you serious?
I'm being definitely serious. Because I knew I wanted to be a chartered accountant, right? But then when I asked the people around the school who were doing grade 12, grade 11, what should I, which maths should I take? I didn't know the difference between the two mathematics.
Right.
And they said mathematical literacy is more related to commerce, so I should rather do that. So it's only when I was passing by when I heard 2 people speaking and saying, hey, the pure maths, and then I said to myself, oh, but I'm not dumb. So I went back and said, you know what, I'm going to do that pure maths.
So being nosy has helped you.
Nosy helped me, enabled me to do what I'm doing. So if I had just known exactly, I had friends who did not become what they wanted to be, all because of that one choice that they had to make in grade 9. So that's what we actually wanted to do. And the most important part of it all, we wanted to actually enhance the perceptions of the attitudes of young pupils in disadvantaged areas about their futures, regardless of their inaccessibility to prestigious learning resources, also regardless of whether or not they actually have the right learning environment around them. So regardless of the undesirability of the learning environment, we want to actually come in and say, with the little knowledge that we may have, we bring in university officials, we bring in anyone that might be willing to partner and help us to say, please, let's guide these young souls. Let's get them from grade 9. Let's get them to a point that they won't regret the following year.
I'm hearing you say you are teaching them to think and dream differently, regardless of their current situation.
Perfectly so.
The work you do is very important, especially where Black children are concerned. You keep referring to we do this, we do. Who are you working with?
Basically, when I came up with the idea, I called in a group of people that I had worked with before. I had served before as the chairperson of the Methodist Student Society at UWC. So I had
Whose society is this?
Methodist Student Society.
Oh, okay.
Methodist Student Society.
Right.
So I already knew people that could potentially help me carry this vision, and perfectly so. One is just next to me now. So I call them into so we formed a group of 6 office bearers who became the board at that time. So luckily, I got the perfect people who carried the vision as though it were perfectly theirs. So from there we started. We had, first of all, this is just theoretical. We've just written a proposal, no matter how brilliant the English is, but we need to now start taking action. Do you understand? So we had to narrow it down. What do we do then? So we had to dare ourselves and say, we understand that it's theoretical, but we are adamant that if it starts working, we'll be able to sustain it. We'll be thinking forward about it. So we went to different departments seeking donations. And we were saying that...
Are you talking government departments or
not at
departments
all.
At the varsity?
Not at all. Departments within the university. So
Okay.
what we said is that we don't necessarily want money at this stage. All we want is for a person to donate a certain service to us to enable us to start working. We did not even think of having nutrition within the session. So we went to the residential services of our schools, of our university, and we asked them, please donate your kombi every Saturday to us. So we can transport the students into the high school and actually make them or enable them to donate their time. Because remember, this whole model is created so that we also as students can learn the spirit of Ubuntu. That the spirit of Ubuntu is beyond monetary possessions.
True.
So it's us just donating our time and our little knowledge that we may have. And then we also went to the best department that has helped us thus far, which got us here, as the DVC's department. So Deputy Vice Chancellor, Student Development and Support. And I remember first pitching there, and the feedback I got when I went out, I thought to myself, oh, we're not getting that.
Really?
I spoke to a gentleman called Mr. Makubeni, and he's been a great help. He's been guiding us throughout, and they actually came up and said, okay, so you want to go there, you want to queue there, yes, we've got your transportation, then what? Because you can't be calling a learner on a Saturday and expect them not to have nothing within their stomach. So they said, okay, what about nutrition? We didn't even think about that. Back in our days in high school, if you're going, I would go to school on a Sunday even and not even get anything. So we did not think of it that far.
Okay, keep talking.
So that's how we had thought about it, and then they broadened our type of thinking or way of thinking. They stretched our mind, and then they provided us with nutrition, further provided us with branding. So we need to brand ourselves. The tutors themselves
need to be visible.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So they provided us with all that, and till this point, they've been a great help.
How long has this movement been in existence for?
2 years now.
2 years now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let me bring you in, Inga, the fundraising director. But before we talk about the money aspect of it and the raising funds of it, recap for us exactly what services T4T offers.
We are with tutoring, mentorship, career guidance, and now we just introduced a new leg, which is the Social Wellness Committee.
Mm-hmm.
So what the Social Wellness Committee does is basically focus on the social, holistic well-being of the learners. So now we put the academics aside. We want to look at you as a person. How are you doing? What are some of the challenges that you face growing up now in your township that you are in? So what we are now running is a toiletry drive where we are collecting pads, basics toiletries for those learners, right? And what we want to do for the learners is bring people in to talk to them, to the young males, to the young females, talk to them about how are you as growing up in South Africa now? What is it like for you to be a young teenager going through puberty? What are some of the challenges that you're facing? What do you need from us in order to perform at your optimum in class? So basically that's what the Social Wellness Committee does now.
How many schools are you servicing? Where do you get these learners that you speak of?
We are working with one school, which is in Nyanga, Oskampeta High.
Okay.
We're working with that school now with 50 learners in grade 9.
50 learners
when
in
we
grade
started
9.
Yes, when we started last year we had 21 learners, and we thought since we are moving forward, let's grow. So we grew the number as well to 50 learners, and hopefully next year we grow even bigger.
All right. So wait, if a parent is listening to this and is thinking, I've got a child in grade 9 that I would like to be a part of this, what should this parent prepare themselves for? What do you do with these children on a Saturday basis, on an every Saturday basis?
Okay.
Is it even on an every Saturday basis?
Yes.
Okay.
Every Saturday basis.
So Nivule Saturday school.
Saturday
Yes.
school.
Okay.
Let me take you through the general day.
Please.
T4T day. So we do this for 3 hours. So when they get into class, firstly, entry into class is your homework. So you had homework last week.
Okay.
You're a T4T baby, you should be busy. You should be applying the principles that we teach you.
Okay.
So you bring in your homework, and then you get entry into class. Then the first 15 minutes we dedicate into writing the quiz. So the quiz is based on the work that was done the previous week, because we had to go recap again. And then once we're done with the quiz, we start again by decoding the the principles of the exercise that will be done. So one tutor, they circulate. So one tutor this week, the other tutor that week will decode the concept, and then after decoding the concept for about 30 minutes, and then they would separate into groups and then do the exercise. After the exercises would come back again, then would report back, go through the solution and all that, and then would call it. Of course, we'd have a lunch and then call it a day. But not every day do we do that, because sometimes, remember, we have to also bring in the mentorship part, the career guidance part.
Right.
Recently, we took them to the University of the Western Cape, where we had Director of Student Enrollment Management Unit, different people who are in different professions, chartered accountants coming in to speak with them. So not every Saturday do we just spend in class just learning.
Makes sense. Little Bird also tells me you've got an interesting campaign going on called the Calculator Campaign. What is that?
We had that, and
it's an annual thing, actually.
Annual
it's
thing.
not just...
Yes. Basically, we've noted that these learners, when they get to grade 10 the following year, they would need these machines, which is scientific calculators. So we started a campaign drive, an annual campaign drive, to say the learners that we tutor for the rest of the year, the gift that they will get at the end of the year is a scientific calculator to enable them the following year to be competent in their studies. So last year we started with the 21 that we had. We actually raised double the number that we wanted, brand new scientific calculators. This year we launched again with 50 learners, and by God's grace, we got again about 120 calculators instead of the 50. So which enables us now to also make a difference beyond the 50 learners that we work with.
Nice. I like that. Where to from now? What other campaigns are you busy with? What work are you doing to prep for next year's intake of your Saturday school?
Very good question. Thank you. So right now we are actually planning on expanding, not just in Cape Town, but we also want to go to PE.
Okay.
So our next destination place now is PE. Remember, T4T should be operating within universities, where there's a university and a community around. So we want to spread this thing, and we are busy now preparing. For example, we've just revised the board. So there's a new board now, and we are actually introducing BECs. So there's a board, there's going to be BECs, branch executive committees, who will be managing the universities. This thing must constantly be student-led. So the board would be responsible for handling all the finances and everything, and getting all the donations and the vision of the organization. So next year already, we are planning on also introducing e-learning. So if there's anyone who's perhaps listening and they have any kind of connection in terms of IT, please do contact us.
Okay.
So we're trying to, basically, it's us spotting the fact that your phone is your greatest distraction, especially as a teenager. How can we capitalize on that?
Right.
How can we make that work to your advantage? So those are the kind
Because
of
it's in your hand, Kagate.
Perfectly. So we already have a growth plan for next year, and one of our greatest moves for next year is to actually say, yes, we're an NPO, but we are shying away from constantly going back to ask donations. So if you do get your hands on our growth plan, you would notice that we actually have a plan to say, if you give us this, this is our plan to sustain ourselves, so that we don't constantly go and seek for money for our basic operations. The campaigns, the annual calculator campaign, will always be there.
Makes sense. Inga?
And just to chip in quickly, I think something that Lunabo forgot is, as much as we're growing, we're not just taking grade 9s next year. We're going grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. So the learners that we're going to take in grade 9, we're actually growing with them. So we're taking you through grade 9 up until grade 12. Right? So every year, we only take from grade 9. But obviously, first year, which is next year, we're going to take all throughout the grades, and then we just grow with the learners.
All right. You mentioned that the school that you have learners from currently this year is in Nyanga. Who are you working with? Do you have partnerships? Do you have co-ops that you're working with?
Not exactly, no. It's just been us.
Why are you working in a silo when there are so many other people who are like-minded?
I think it's just not knowing who to approach. Because as we've been approaching students, so we work with students, and we've been approaching the DVC, so businesses, but we don't know who else is doing what we're doing.
You mentioned MythSoc at some point.
Yes,
right?
Those are the kind of structures that we work with within the university. So what we do is, for example, for the calculator drive that we had last year, most of the donations came from NSOC, not MedSoc, Anglican. Student society. So it's also, we are also spreading our operations within the structures that are there. There are many people who would like to help. So that's what we also, with regards to spreading our wings and also approaching corporates, we were waiting for our section 30 tax clearance certificate. So now that we're a public benefit organization ourselves, so we can now issue Section 18A certificates for people who donate into the organization, and corporates want that. So now that that is sorted, our next move is to go bigger and bigger.
Corporates is one, but find out which churches can work with you. You'll be surprised just how many would be open to that idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. The work you do is important. I can never stress that. Black children helping other black children is immeasurable. And one day we will tell stories where ode is being paid to you long after you're buried. It's very important that we do that. As you rise, you lift those who come after you. Thank you ever so much. Do you have social media presence?
Yes, ma'am. If you're looking for us, you can just visit our website, www.today, the number 4, not 4, the number 4, tomorrow.org.za. If you're looking for us on Instagram, it's the same thing, @today4tomorrow.sa. If you're looking for us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, @today4tomorrow.sa.
Thank you ever so much for making time to be with us tonight.
Thanks.
Good luck
for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Good luck. Good luck. I really hope you make the partnerships you need to. I hope somebody is listening and somebody will reach out. I hope you make a difference where it matters the most. And thank you for being with us tonight. It is 10 to 8. We take a break, and when we come back, we're joined by Zinzi Faber, Dream Interpreter and Astrologer in studio.